Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's a great honor to join you tonight. It's an even greater honor and distinction to receive this first, I assume, annual Ninja Innovator Award. Now, I just want to say that to Lee Terry, my dear friend and colleague, I don't have a black belt. Oh, well, I have a black belt, but not the kind. However, my son did get Taekwondo black belt, so I live in fear of him and of this black belt right here. You know, I've read his book, Ninja Innovation, and the 32 other books he's written. Look, Gary does a great job for your organization in leading and advancing and articulating the need for innovation and change. And he's never shy about that. I know you think sometimes he's a little low-key and shy, but he's really not. And in his book, he talks about leaders of companies that believe in the future have a passion for what they're doing. They convey excitement, interest, desire, and a level of intensity that transcends the common, blasé tone that pervades much of society. And you know, I set that aside for a moment because I think that is so true. In 1934, my father got his ham radio ticket. I would declare he was an innovator in technology. And he went into engineering and put radio stations. I know they're the evil broadcasters, but we'll work on that, Gary. You know, he and his engineer friends would put radio stations on the air, and after midnight, they would retune the towers and talk to each other as ham radio operators. And I obviously grew up around those towers. Look at my hairline. But I went into the radio business when I was 15 in the family business and was on the air at that time. And later, my wife and I owned 2 stations and built out a company that owns 5 over the course of 22 years. I would wager I'm the only member of Congress that's ever wired in a studio, a EAS alert system, and a transmitter. And in the early 1990s, I would wager we were one of the first broadcasters on the West Coast in a very small market to go digital. And I would guarantee you we were beta because we were stringing RG58 cable with coax connectors to create a network in our station so the computers could talk to each other so you could cut radio ads downstairs and feed them upstairs. What we didn't know at the time was, though, if you were cutting them downstairs while you were feeding them upstairs, it would do a horrible thing on the air for your listeners, but we got around that. We figured out. We innovated. We had RCA transmitter that, you know, I got to replace the PCB-filled capacitors legally, dispose of them properly. But I grew up in an era of vacuum tubes. And by the time we sold the business, virtually every one of our transmitters was digital in terms of not HD, but it was all, we were done with tubes. It's an amazing transformation. As chairman of the Communications and Technology Committee, you've heard that we have opened up the door for more wireless broadband. And we're not done. It's not just the broadcast spectrum. We hope to eventually have the FCC bring to auction successfully. But immediately thereafter, we formed a joint committee to begin looking at the federal spectrum that could be made available. Because I believe the federal government has more than it really needs. And what we have to do is work in concert to figure out how to satisfy what the federal government needs and how to free up what it doesn't. And so I'm all in for innovation. I'm all in for technology. And I'm all in for what we're trying to do to grow it here in America and expand it around the world, create jobs, create better lives for consumers. So thank you very much. I'm deeply honored to be with you tonight. God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman. You know, maybe it should have been called the Geek Award. Who knew? That's terrific. And I say geek in the most positive way.